So here's a tip for you guys, is that if you're going to pull up your crab pots, make sure that you go into the current. Don't go with the current, try and go into the wind as well. That way you can really control the nose of the boat, as Clint's doing here, and the float's just going to come straight down across our side here, and we'll be able to pick him up, of course, like this, and then it goes. You're not going to chop off the actual rope with the propeller because it's already in front of the boat. So just a couple of helpful tips there, that when you are crabbing, you know what to do. Good skippering, mate. Bringing the boat around obviously allows the rope to get away from the prop, not going under the boat. Oh, that's a biggie. Look at the size of that one. We don't want that. That's pretty. That's a nice big sand crab, that. And the small one on the other side, but that's the size that we're after. Probably around, probably about 15 centimetres across the top of the carapace, so plenty of size in that one for us, which is great. There you go. That's exactly what we're after. Look at the colours on that, absolutely gorgeous. Clint, what's the most amount of blue swimmer crabs you've caught in a pot, mate?
Yeah, most 22. 22 in one pot.
22 in one pot.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now they are a beautiful crab, much sweeter. What's your thoughts on the take, so if we divided these up between maybe a King Island crab or maybe, which has a lot of meat, to the blue swimmer, to a mud crab and say a spanner crab? Yeah. What do you think?
I'd say, yeah, these guys are my number one. I know mud crabs are, more expensive and more highly sought after, but I'll happily take a blue swimmer crab over anything, I reckon.
They're pretty good. They are super sweet.
Full of meat. They're not huge looking crabs, but they're full of meat. So.
Yeah. Plenty of, I mean, a couple of these will easily do a few sandwiches, and that's a really good recipe for you guys at home as well. If you're going to boil these up, just boil them for probably about 8 minutes or so, till they about float up. In salty water, and then once you clean them down, just put that meat into a bowl, a little bit of lemon juice, salt, pepper, and of course all vinegar, and straight onto some fresh bakery bread. Yeah. So Clint, what are we looking at as in bottom structure depth? What's the prime depth to put your pots in when you're chasing blue swimmers, say in northern New South Wales, southeast Queensland?
Yeah, I'll look at local area here. I've found around that 2 to 4 metres sort of depth, where there's weed beds, channel edges, sand, just mix of structure. Just sort of the same areas I fish really, so the crabs are, I guess, feeding in those same areas, catching bait that comes through. So yeah, those sort of areas work well. Sometimes a bit deeper at times. If that's not working, I'll go a bit deeper to the deeper channels and just mix it up and just find what works, And
it sort of doesn't matter. I mean, you've got a lot of watercraft here. There's windsurfers, there's boats, there's yachts, there's mega yachts, super yachts. Everything works through these channels. And of course, it doesn't put the crabs down, or does it?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I definitely prefer fishing and crabbing on weekdays, so maybe there's something to it. Yeah, you've got those days where, say weekends, Sundays, where it's just really gets manic, and there's got to be at some point those creatures sort of get put down, but so yeah, maybe there's something to it about it, yeah.
And really keeping an eye on your pots as well. I try and put them out where you're fishing. Otherwise, unfortunately, there are a lot of people got uncle's pots out there that check them, don't they?
They do, yeah. I've lost quite a few over the years, so you do.
Bad. I don't know who does that. Who does that? Who goes and checks other people's pots and then steals them?
To know, yeah. You never catch them doing it, do you?
No, you don't. Another good way that I always work with my pots is I'll put them out late in the afternoon, not right on dark, and then get out there first thing in the morning and check them as well. And don't put them right in the middle of the channel, because otherwise people run over them.
That's another point too, is some people think they get their pot stolen, but they can be dragged away with strong currents if the rope's not long enough, and get dragged under the water. Yep. And run over by big boats, and sort of, the propellers will cut those.
Speaking of big boats, man, I think you better move. So Clint, what bait do you find to be better, smellier bait or a fresh bait?
Yeah, I find fresh bait. You hear a lot of talk about smelly baits and that sort of thing and rotten, but I think crabs are no different to any other living creature. They like their food fresh, and works for me. I use nice fresh ocean mullet, fresh whole mullet, and seems to do the job. So yeah, fresh is better. And
I know at Anaconda you can go down there and get your bait collecting stuff, whether it's your traps, your floats and all that, but also your bait keeper. So just through the eye?
Oh, that's the easiest way, straight through the eyes and then pin it to the bottom of the pot. Just make sure obviously it's sitting on the bottom of the pot, not on the top, so that crabs can't just sit on the top of the pot and get a free feed.
And then just hook that up like so, and job's done.
That's what you need to do. Yeah.
All right, mate, well that's it. Let's get this next pot up. I tell you what, we've got a bunch there, we've got a few crabs to start with, and fingers crossed.
Still got a few to go. So
oh yeah, I love it, mate. So Clint, you've noticed that when you are out here after a bit of freshwater runoff, I mean the whole east coast of Australia has been inundated with so much fresh water for 2022, is that you know, these crabs are on the move, and probably some are even late season, such as the mud crab, because you know we're seeing a lot of warmer water still hanging around. Obviously a lot of the ocean temperatures are still quite warm, hence the reason why we're in for that wet winter ahead. And of course, mate, right. Have you noticed a difference there for the crab movement?
Oh yeah, look, a lot of muddies out here in the broad and out in the open that have been flushed out of all these creeks, like this bigger creek here and all these waterways through here that have, you know, just so much fresh come down from the floods and still dirty. So they've been flushed out into this open water and just feeding and living sort of cleans up, I guess. So yeah, we've got a really good mix of muddies and sandies in the recent few weeks. Yeah,
it's like a bit of a delicacy for a Sunday lunch, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's not much better eating than crabs.
I reckon.
Fresh crabs.
All right, we're coming up to another pot there, gentlemen, so let's arm ourselves and see if we can catch more.
That's it. Let's see what we get.
Okay. That's how you tell it's a female. They've got a really broad flap here, whereas the male has a spigot that runs up. So Queensland, we can't keep these. In other parts of the country you can. For example, New South Wales, you can keep the females. She would be a legal crab. And the other way is, before you even pick them up, is the size of their claws. So she has a very small claw here, obviously the grabber and the ripper. And of course with that, mate, you can tell she's full as well. Really, really heavy brown there. And also if you wanted to just touch the crabs in here, you can also feel exactly how much meat is in there by squeezing underneath the carapace. So a couple little things there for you, mate, that you learn when you're up from Tasmania.
Like to know, yep.
Yep, you can teach us all about wines.
Yes, cheese.
And cheese, that's right, exactly. And all of the rest, but that's a crab that we've got to let go. All right, mate, do you want to do the honours?
No,
do you know how to hold her?
No, I'll let you put it back.
Do you want to try?
I like my fingers.
Here we go. See you, sweetheart. Look at that, straight back to the depth. Yeah, absolutely, one day. Yeah. All right, next. All right, you can go, mate. So at the end of the day, once you've checked your crab pots, it's a good time to go over everything. And of course, that is to make sure that you still got your placard here that's placed on here with your name and address, and of course your float with your details on it as well. And then from there, we just basically fold it up, put it back in the pot. They're easy to stow away, and of course, depending on which state you are in Australia, everyone has a different rule and regulations, not only just for crabs and of course sizes, but also for the amount of pots you're allowed per person. Another pot coming up, mate. Feel any crawling around in there? You normally can feel the little rustle across the net. No, alrighty.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice.
And a muddy.
Way, solid. Another female muddy too. Look at that, that's a big sandy, a big blue swimmer, I should say. Otherwise, if I say sandy, I'll get pulled up by the South Australian guys, because they say, oh, they've got a fight, it's a duel. Wait, no, whoa, whoa. Oh, Jesus. Look at this one can't bite me here because, oh, it still can actually. It's got a little nugget there. Anyway, that's the male, got the spigot, nice beautiful colours and clearly legal. You want to do the measuring there, Clint?
Let's have a look. Just inside that first notch. If it doesn't fit inside those notches, then yeah, it's legal.
Perfect, so there's one for the dinner tonight.
Definitely.
Bit of linguine.
Sounds good for the boys.
There you go, fellas. All right, so where are we putting that, mate? On ice?
Yep.
And in the esky.
Yeah.
Sensational. Thank you, mate. Beautiful. Oh, yeah, got a few more there. So that's a female one. You can tell her by the just by the size of her and the colouring of her. Yep. That's a decent sized Jenny, that one though, isn't it? Another big Jenny mud crab. Yep. That's exactly what we love to see being released, ensuring future stocks of mud crabs in our systems. See you later. Alrighty, another female. Big flap across the base here. There's the male. You can see clearly the difference there. This one will release, and this one, I'd say it's probably too small there, Clint. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say she's a little bit small, that one.
Yep.
Way under.
Yep.
Okay, see you later, mate. Go and follow that girl. Not in a creepy way, though. And then you'll feel like a rattle as you go to pull. And if there's a rattle, then clear that's the crabs in the net trying to scooch out of there, you know. And it looks like they all scooched out. What a load of fish. Oh, crap. Is this your pot? Yeah. Okay, you sure? Oh, that was gold. Well, we've got a bunch of crabs. A lot of fun out here with Clint from Gold Coast River Charters. Whenever we go on his boat, I tell you what, it's always a cack. So the next time you're coming up to the Gold Coast, from wherever you are around this beautiful country of ours, and even Tasmania, of course, with our local boys up the front there, Sean and Simon. Thanks for your company, fellas. Good on you. Here's some tips to get you underway the next time you're going out there, and just don't worry about the crab scooching through the net thing. It does work though.
Now here's some tips to catching blue swimmers. We use the collapsible crab traps. They're much easier storage travelling on a boat or just at home. Fresh mullet and fish frames. Can't go wrong with that. Now set your pots out along channel edges and around weed beds. They love hanging in those areas. Check your crab traps every couple of hours, or preferably leave them out overnight. Remember to check your bag limits and size limits for your state.
And of course, thanks for watching Step Outside YouTube channel for lots of cooking and fishing action. Like, subscribe, and of course comment for more catches like this and cooking recipes.